Hello everyone, this is Andrea with Nutrition Commission. So today's topic again is stress and its effects on our pain and inflammation. I just want to step back and let's just understand stress. Now, most of us probably think stress is about, our mental stress, right? That's the most obvious one, that when we say stress, it's immediately, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. But actually, stress, there are many different stressors in our body. The fact that we have a disease or chronic illness is a stressor. So I want to encourage you to just kind of step back and think a little bit more broadly about what we mean by stress and stressors. So medications can be stressors on the body. Obviously, our food, poor food choices become stressors on the body. Toxins become stressors on the body. Obviously, the true sense of mental stress, chronic stress, becomes an impact on the body. Okay, so everything is essentially a stressor to the body. There's no way around it per se, but through diet and lifestyle tactics and strategies, we end up putting that flame out, or we end up helping the body to achieve balance back to, homeostasis. So, it's not to say that, we would all collapse. It's because obviously our body knows what it needs to do to attend to all those stressors, okay? But as we age, the cumulative effect of all those stressors is what contributes to the chronic illness, the chronic disease, and many of the symptoms that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So I want to just explain what that means. And in my small group program, I go into this a little bit more deeply, but I had to refer back to a particular slide too, because it's so fascinating how this works. So if you think, and I'm not going to flip it because I don't even think you can see it really anyway. But I'll just give you an example of what stress does to the body. Okay, so let's just talk about, we have chronic stress or stressors, right? Immediately what happens is there's a hormonal effect of stress on the body. And let's just keep it simple. Let's talk about the true emotional stress, okay? Not the physical stresses and all the other things that can play into it. Let's just talk about the mental stress and pressure that we have from work, family life, emotional things. Obviously, coronavirus is a stressor. Homeschooling is a stressor, so you get the point. So the chronic stress, or, again, just poor health news, et cetera, right? Creates excess circulating cortisol. So really the most impactful thing with stress is the impacts to hormones that start getting pumped out, as well as excess blood sugar, okay, which is wreaks immense havoc on our system. So the hormones get pumped up, so cortisol spikes, which immediately triggers blood sugar. And your body's doing that because it thinks you're in a fight or flight mode, right? So it's thinking, okay, I need energy, quick. So you end up having that immediate response in your body, that adrenaline rush and the cortisol rush. So it increases the blood sugar. So what happens when we do that? Well, our insulin, it goes up. So that's another hormone. And the insulin is supposed to carry that blood sugar into the cell for the energy, or into the muscle tissue, etc. But if we're constantly in this chronic stress cycle, okay, we never get back to a true sense of homeostasis, because life tends to throw a lot of curveballs, especially the last year. So you're increasing your insulin, so you're pumping out the insulin, and at some point your cells and your muscle, really, they can't store anymore. It doesn't need any more sugar, right? It's full. Okay, so what happens in that particular scenario is, well, the insulin then has to carry it to storage. Okay, so this is where we see excess sugar being stored as belly fat. Fun stuff. And that's called the adipose fat. And the adipose fat in the belly is metabolically different than any other fat in the body, in that it actually produces inflammatory compounds. Isn't that fun? So our belly fat, our excess belly fat, is actually a toxin manufacturing plant. Okay, it's unbelievable. So it's pumping out inflammatory compounds that's making you sick, crave food, brain fog. So it's adding to the total stressors in your body, and it keeps you feeling sick. Okay, so that's another, way stress creates and contributes to more pain and inflammation. So as the excess sugar is getting stored as fat, it's also being stored in your liver, believe it or not. So it ends up going into the liver. That's where people end up getting fatty liver. At some point, your liver can only take in so much sugar too. So again, if we're compounding this with a poor diet, you can see how this magnifies real quickly. So the liver ends up storing it, compacts it, and at some point, it can't hold anything else. So it ends up, this excess sugar and fat is floating around in the blood. And that's where a lot of people get some heart disease issues, because now you have high triglycerides floating around. So you end up on this blood sugar roller coaster. Okay, so you go from high blood sugar to low blood sugar, high blood sugar to low. So you know that energy crash and the crash and the crash. So when you go through something really stressful, your body crashes afterwards. That's what we're talking about here. All right. So then when you're in that roller coaster, that's when the serious health issues really begin. Oh, great, right? So our adrenals, which sit on top of our kidneys, and those are basically the two organs that sit, and glands. Kidneys are organs, the adrenals are the glands pumping out hormones, which are the cortisol. They sit in your lower back as well on top of the kidneys. And so those become exhausted because they're constantly pumping out the cortisol, the hormones, which eventually we end up moving into adrenal fatigue or adrenal dysfunction. And I know I've been in that state a lot over the last year specifically, just trying to work hard, and then crash, and then the stress and everything else. So it's a constant cycle of this blood sugar and hormonal secretions. And that is kind of like the worst thing that we can do in our autoimmune condition, in our cancer recovery or treatment condition or prevention. I mean, you name it. And then ultimately, if we're constantly in this roller coaster, which again, that's become kind of our steady state this past year, most notably, we get to what's called adrenal insufficiency. In other words, it can no longer pump out any more cortisol, really. It's like you're just completely depleted. Now, yes, you can, through diet and some supplements, you can regain your function, the proper function of your adrenals and all the other organs, and you can balance your hormones, right? You can manage your stress much better. And that's obviously why I'm sure most of you are here, even in this group, is to learn more. What can you do? But let me just share with you, when we get to this point, and a lot of us are probably going to see some of the symptoms I call out here, you'll recognize in yourself. Of course, we get to the end point here. Well, what happens? We have brain fog. We have cravings because we need energy, right? We need that quick energy. That's why we end up going to the crappy carbs and the sugars and the caffeine, because we're so depleted. And I've been doing that myself. Okay, I'm not even going to try to pretend that I'm not. I'm totally in this cycle myself, and it's tragic, really. The sedentary lifestyle, right? We're not getting enough oxygen into our body, which is like the kiss of death. All right. Digestive issues. Does anyone have digestive issues? I've been having a lot of irritable bowel because of the stress. So we have the low thyroid function, right? Because the thyroid's also pumping out hormones. Rheumatoid arthritis, blood sugar imbalance, fatigue, immune suppression, sleep disruption, degenerative illness. So, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So these are all illnesses that kind of step back into this inflammatory state, one of which is the stressors that are affecting the body, the toxins, the environment, the emotional, the mental, the stressors. All right, it gets to that tipping point, if you will, that our body just can't take on anymore to help get back to homeostasis or balance, because it no longer has the tools in the toolbox to take the body there. So let me just give you a few tips, okay, to leave you with. And the first one I would say is, first and foremost, again, these are just suggestions. You can definitely find a lot of ideas, but the ones that really resonate for me is, number one, simplify your life. Simplify your life. And even if you say that to yourself, it's like you almost get to the state of, yeah, that's exactly what I need. How do I simplify my life? Okay. Number two, move to mellow your mind. Okay. So exercise, and I have been reminded of this myself yesterday. Oxygen, detoxification, oxygen, and then the nutrition are literally have always been my three truths of even in the cancer world. Okay. Always. I have fallen off the wagon myself, especially when it comes to the oxygenation. Oxygen is life. Obviously, your cells need it. Your body needs it. We must get more oxygen into our body. Okay. So we must move. We must find a way to sweat every day. Okay. Do whatever you need to do to get movement, because the sedentary lifestyle is going to make us worse. Period. End of story. And I used to run for 18 years, you guys. And then when cancer hit me, and then I, had my baby, obviously, and I just kind of could never really get back into it. I haven't, but it was something that helped me with my anxiety or stress. And it is a huge void, and I resist it like, I don't know why. I'm resisting, but I had my own, I've got some medical issues, and I'm going to share with you guys probably in the upcoming week or two, just because I don't want anyone to think that, I have it always figured out, because I don't. And, health is a constantly evolving process, and you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get hit in the head and hit in the belly and all that good stuff. It's how we get ourselves pulled back up, get back on it, and get focused. That's really going to help us to stay healthy. Yeah, we're going to have knockdowns, and I'm going through a knockdown, and maybe I'll share that with you in the next few weeks. I don't want to make it about me, but I want to give you that understanding that, we're all in it, and I'm right there, right alongside you. The third idea, as I know I'm rambling, sorry guys, is focusing on sleep. Whenever we are feeling, just horrible, number one, or, even though I'm giving you number one thing, get more sleep. The sleep is paramount to regenerate and repair, and obviously trying to reduce the stress at night by turning off the TV, even turning off your routers, you guys. Turn off the routers, the electromagnetic field pumping from the 5G and all this other stuff will keep us in an anxious state. And I know I have been as well. So I knew this already, but I stopped doing it. So I started turning off my router at night as well. Okay, let your body relax and rejuvenate and regenerate over the night. So those would be my three ideas. So I want to keep it concise as I can. And let me know how these ideas resonate with you, or maybe you have some additional tips that you want to share with the group as well. I kind of wanted this week to be all about stress and what each of us are doing to help manage our own life that's filled with stress. So feel free to share any comments from today's content. You know where to find me if you have any questions. And until then, take care of yourself. All right, take care. Bye-bye.